Okay, Mr. Pierce, Kevin Dye Painting. I like to do these video bids to kind of let everybody know what we're looking at and let you see what I see. I'll just deal with the decks. We can kind of go from there. Yeah, just wear. It looks like it was a water-based product of some form. Like I said, we use Armstrong, we use oil. I like to use the good stuff. Now when I do decks, especially refinishing, I basically consider this point on to be the deck, and then on the supports, I'm trying not to shake the camera too much here, on the supports I take the supports down to the concrete, and I like to make sure to get under there. Most of the time we do not do underneath. I can give you a separate price for underneath, you know, spray out every single joist underneath. Most of the time we don't really need to do that, and I don't, but if need be I can. You know, it's kind of a mixed thing. If we do a heavy enough coat on top, you want the oil to push water out the bottom, not seal it up completely every single board. So that's why we often don't do the bottoms, especially areas that you can't see. I have a sinking feeling that you guys are not doing a whole lot of entertaining directly underneath this deck, so it's not something that's visible. The other decks in the front might be something that we have to take into consideration. So pressure wash, or a blower, depending on how dry it is. Most of the time just removing the pine needles. And then these screws, I re-sink them in about 1/16 of an inch, just a little bit. Not with anything crazy, not with a heavy duty hammer drill or anything, just enough so that we can sand and it won't hit the screws. And some of these are already pretty good, actually. Justin Dollar does not joke around. He builds nice decks. I like just the little stuff, like the beveled edges and stuff. So but anyway, so we come through, we bleach as much of the black off of some of the railing as we can get. You are getting a lot of that mold coming in, unfortunately, and once that comes in, yeah, it's hard to get rid of. So that's a separate situation. The rest of the house looks pretty good. It does look as if it might need a stain, but it does look pretty good. But we'll deal with the decks. So I do these by hand. I brush these in with the old Wooster hair brushes like the old days, and it just takes so much stain. We do 2 coats, and I can send some pictures of some deck refinishing that we've done, and it is night and day. So bear with me here. Stairs are not my friend this week. I just had a minor knee surgery. Okay, here as well, I mean, really nice. We kind of dig this edge out too so we can get to all the wood. And it would just be stained. All the screws re-sunk. Of course the pine needles would be blown completely off the deck. This is such a great house. So yeah, you can see it's just walking off. It doesn't look like there's any stain on there at all. After we've cleaned it, after we have re-sunk the screws, then we return with a huge floor sander. Now, any of these corners like this that we can't get the big sander near, what we do is we do those by hand. We use an 80 to 60 grit, which heavy duty stuff, takes a lot off, does put a lot of swirls. So we kind of go through, we sand the heck out of it, we get it really nice, and then what we do is we turn around and then we come back with 100 and we run it with 100 grit. And then we often run it with a 220 grit, which basically, you know, it gets rid of all the swirls. We can't get rid of every single last one, but I like to say probably 98%, you know, and I see some right here, and if I'm seeing them, that's not good. So, but you know, sometimes you just find them only after you stain, but we go to the utmost level of trying to make sure there's not any at all. I mean, we really kind of go through and try to make sure there's none. So you can tell where under here is protected, so the color didn't really change. Same thing, sand through here. All this stuff would be taken off the deck, put over on the side, and covered properly. That deck right there, same thing down there. Not a big deal. All the railing does appear to need it at this point. Just the railings of the deck, and so we do all of them. So I would try to leave this, or at least want to use the original color that was used on the house. I'd be interested to know what this is, because there's a lot of places where it shouldn't be failing, and all that edge there, how black that is on the edge, all that's failing, and so there's no way for that to turn. It's not as if that's going to get better, it's only going to get worse. So with that said, that's the only issue that I'm a little worried about when it comes to the house. On the deck restain, it has nothing to do with us. We can easily come through. These here probably won't have to be done. So my suggestion would be to come through, stain the deck and the handrails with Armstrong, and we can do any of these that we have to clean up with the original color so they exactly match. Now that does two things. It saves you, see how there's black on that guy? It saves you a little bit of money because we're not coming to rebuild the deck or restain the entire deck, every part of it, you know, with all brand new color. We have to get underneath and the whole work. So it definitely saves you a little bit on that. But at the same time, it's needed. Now I need to find out what this product was. So if you get a chance, you know, I can call Justin as well, so that's not a big deal. We got a little bit of a leaner right here. Any boards that creak, anything that seems to lean, get a new screw, period. We go through and we kind of go through and we put new screws in. So most of this guy here, now we could get up underneath. Yeah, I'm seeing some mold down there. Hand against that edge too, and on your fascia. I'll just go ahead and put the bid in for what it would cost to do the house as well. Again, I'm not shopping you. We're extremely busy this season already, but you know, at least I'll put it in there and you guys can decide whenever. Our bids are good. They don't change by the year or anything like that, so it's not as if you decide, nope, do the deck now, and if you call us in a year, it's not going to be more. So sorry to take you on the path of your house here. Okay, so underneath a big piece of pressure treat there. You know, I don't know if it would so much need. I like to do the rails to have them match, so they're kind of tied in, but I don't know if it would so much need to have the underside done. It looks pretty good. You're getting some spot mold. I would suggest that be part of the house when you do the house, whenever that may be. But I am noticing some stuff like that, which is just black mold. Once it sets in, you can try to bleach it out, but it doesn't always come out, and that's the only issue. Yeah, and that door, I think that was the door that you were speaking about, obviously. What I like to do with that is I put a light sand and I use a spar varnish made for boats. It is an amazing thing. It's super strong. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that kind of mold and stuff in there. And on these railings too. So my theory would be to do these guys, like I said, and the deck. We won't do the underside. And then this guy, take it all the way. Look how much water damage. The stain that's on the building is letting the water into the wood, which should not be doing. So in this deck as well. So we got the two little ones, this guy, and the big guy. So that's what I see. Pressure wash, leaf blower, reset screws, heavy duty sander, then lighter grade, then lighter grade, and then everything is brushed multiple times. Any stain, we might spray some of the railing. Any stain that gets on the wires, we actually wipe with a thinner rag. We have a rag that's you know, kind of a little soaked with thinner, and we just kind of make sure, because it's almost impossible to mask every one of these, because as soon as you do, they move back and forth like that. So what I like to do is I just kind of like shoot where I need to and wipe immediately. I do not like to see stain dripping off these like we already are. I don't like to see stain dripping off that. I don't see stain on the concrete. It's very, we're very adamant about how we do things. So that's what I see. And then, yeah, on the house, I am noticing a lot of areas that the house would need it as well. But, you know, it might not be something that has to be done today or, you know, this year. So we'll take that into consideration. I'll just send you over my theory on it. and you guys can go from there. I'm not a hard sale guy. Yeah, just a light sand. I do the jam. I'd probably start from here in, since this is stained wood. It's a different color, and it looks really good. But I usually remove the weather stripping, sand, remove the hinges, 2 coats, remove the kick plate as well, 2 coats of a spar varnish. And I kind of like to go with a satin, not too shiny, but it comes out really nice. So that's what we do. And I'll go ahead and write this up for you this evening. You can take a look, and if you decide to use our services, please feel free to give me a call if you have any questions. Email or give me a call anytime. I look forward to talking to you, and thank you for the time to look at this house. It's absolutely gorgeous. I pass it all the time, and I'm like, man, that's a gorgeous house. So awesome. Have a nice day.